Hey, what's up guys, Ian here, and in this video this will be my full review of the Samsung Galaxy S7 Edge. Now, this phone is a very similar phone to the S6 Edge Plus from last year, and saying the similarities would be much easier. However, this review is going to be a complete review from the perspective of someone who's used this phone since March 9, 2016. Okay, so first of all, hardware. This is a phone which is incredibly beautiful, and putting or using a case should never be an option. This phone is pretty thin at 7.7mm thick. However, this phone is actually 1mm thicker than last year's S6 and S6 Edge models. And this phone also weighs around 157 grams. This phone is built with Corning Gorilla Glass 4 on the front and back of this phone, with metal rails on the side. Samsung also focused on the shape of the hand, so the edges are rounded off, making this phone much easier to hold and much grippier. Now, a big change to this phone is IP68 water and dust resistance. So you can use this phone on a pool, or a beach, or in the shower, and this phone will be perfectly fine. Best thing is, unlike the ugly S5, this phone does water resistance internally, meaning there is no need for any sort of flaps on the outside. However, one downside to that is the poor tinny speakers, which is just bad. Take a look. Now, being a slightly old 2016 flagship Android phone, the international variant of the S7 Edge I have here has the Exynos 8890 processor, the Mali T880 GPU, and 4GB of RAM. These specs are cool and sound great on paper. However, how is performance? Well, as you expected, it's pretty snappy, it's fast, and it's great to use. It's pretty fluid too. However, the best thing about the specs is the better RAM management. The 4GB comes a long way in helping the phone do pretty well in multitasking. I'm glad that it does pretty well in RAM management. Using this phone every day for the past couple of months have been great. And this phone being fast is probably one of its biggest strengths and assets against other phones. Now, for the software. Samsung have been notorious due to the fact that their terrible TouchWiz overlay has always made their flagship Samsung phones terrible. Now, this phone is also, like the S6 and S6 Edge from the past, a more refined and calm version of TouchWiz, with pretty cool features such as Game Lab, Game Tools, on-handed mode, and an always-on display, which isn't really that useful. Now, something the S7 Edge picked up from last year was great cameras. The f1.7 aperture and 12-megapixel camera is my favorite camera in any smartphone, period. The fast camera app opens quickly from anywhere using the double tap gesture, and the camera is immediately ready to take a shot with no shutter lag. Now, the 12 megapixel number is much lower than last year's 16 megapixels. However, this is enough, and that downgrade is nothing big at all in real life. And basically, you're trading more megapixels and more detail for low light photography, which in my fair is pretty cool and pretty fair. Now, all of that is great and all, however, the main question here is this phone a better upgrade over the S6 and S6 Edge, S6 Active and S6 Edge Plus from last year, or any other phones from this year, or should you just keep your old phone? Now, obviously this phone has a lot of great features, like I said, water resistance, dust resistance, probably the best camera on any phone besides the iPhone 7 Plus, fast specs, it's incredibly fluid overall, and it has Android 6.0 Marshmallow. However, it still hasn't received Android 7.0 Nougat, which will probably come next year. In my opinion, if you have a 2016 phone or a phone from late 2015, such as a Nexus 6P or a Samsung Galaxy Note 5, this phone is not worth the upgrade because there are big differences. However, they're not big enough of a big redesign and change for me to switch over. And if you're gonna switch from a 2016 phone, it's just a big no-no, unless you're switching from an iPhone. However, if you're switching from a 2-year-old, 3-year-old, or 4-year-old phone, this is a perfect phone to go. You can wait next year for the Samsung Galaxy S8 if you want. However, this is the best that Samsung has to offer. And the best thing is, this phone does not blow up